Salutations, nerds! We're watching the MCU in all its glory.
We are, of course, off Slate Media. I'm Jake. This is Jared.
Hello.
We're welcoming our new member, Nick. He's going to be helping us go through all of these things. Welcome to the series that is probably going to make him hate him and Jared and I. We're calling it Phazed Out because, well, we're just tired.
That's good. I like that. We should keep saying that.
I'm reinvigorated.
I know you're reinvigorated.
My favorite movies.
I was going to say, for context, this man, Nick, loves these most of these movies, like 99% of these movies. There's a couple exceptions.
I love the greater story.
What? Story?
Oh, we'll get there. We're just at the beginning, sir.
Anyway, fun little fact about this before we get started. It's fun. It's interesting to be doing the MCU because the MCU is the thing that kind of started Jared and I rolling towards a podcast in was it 2018 or 2019 that we started that?
We did.
Leading up to Endgame, whenever that was.
2019.
We watched all of them leading up to Endgame in about
2 months.
2 months? Was it all the 2 months?
It was like 2 months.
We watched all of them. And then we watched Endgame. And then the world shut down.
Like 8-9 months later.
They didn't have a chance to release another movie between then.
But they did. The Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, in July that year.
Anyway,
2019.
we watched them. And then we ranked them. And then we said, hey, let's watch Disney, which is now a part of Marvel or vice versa.
Yeah, we ranked them way later.
Did we?
We're still in story time, aren't we?
Yeah.
2020, when things started clearing up a little more, about the middle of the year, me and Jake start meeting in this room before it was anything podcast related, and we have those chalkboards behind us if you've watched our ranking videos. We ranked all the Marvel movies up through, I think Black Widow was out, but I don't think you had seen it yet. So we didn't count that one.
Back to those days.
And that's when it was like, oh, we should do Disney. So then I had seen them all. He had a couple he had to watch. And then we'd like, now Pixar. I had seen them all. He had a couple he hadn't seen.
And at that point...
actually, I had a couple I hadn't seen, I think we mentioned.
At that point, we invited Dickie in.
And we were playing Rocket League. We were just sitting here.
And then we were like, I'm tired of playing Rocket League. We should record a podcast.
And we did DreamWorks.
Good start. So my history of the MCU, I have rewatched all of these movies from start to finish probably 20 times.
He's the expert.
Last time being in 2020, same as you guys, a little earlier, probably a little less time. I think I watched them in a week and a half. But I was also living alone in a city where I knew not another living soul. So
okay, wait, hold on. 2020. So I guess that makes sense if you were stuck.
Oh yeah. Say I was in a town where I didn't know a single person. I moved there 2 months before the world shut down. World shut down. So I'm like, what do I do? MCU, obviously.
What do I do? MCU. Put that on.
Go to.
Make us a shirt, Jake. What do I do? MCU.
What do I do? MCU. Anyway, we're kicking this off. It's going to be a long podcast, guys. What do we have right now? I have it pulled up right here. I think we have like 40 right now.
I went up to 40 just because that's what they have right now.
Sorry, we have 33 right now. But by the time we get to all of that, we might be at, I don't know.
By the end 35? Of the year, if we match, it'll be 34 like the last week of this year. If there's no problems, it should be week to week. So last week of the year, you'll get our Deadpool and Wolverine episode because that will be out like 6 months before the episode, but that's just the timing of it. But right now, as we're sitting here, 33.
Anyway, we're kicking it off. We're kicking it off on a high note, probably the best MCU film.
In my opinion.
His favorite for sure. And, rewatching it again, I think, that original rewatch that we did, what did we say, like 4 of them have any sort of like rewatchability?
We had a percentage, Nick. We like wrote down
rewatchability percentage
or something. It was like we basically at the time it was like 26 or whatever, and it's like of these, how many are like actually like rewatchable for us? And I think it was like 8.
Was it that many?
I think it was. I think a couple of them surprised us because I think a couple you said, "Are you sure?" I go, "This," and you go, "No, that's."
Were a good chunk of those in the first 2 phases.
Probably.
There's just so much like groundwork that's set there. Like there's some that are kind of necessities when rewatching.
Yeah, and I think some of those, because again, we didn't write it down, so I think some of those might be different on this one. I think the first Avengers was on there too, but every time we talk about it, there's a gimmick about it when it came out in 2012, and we'll get to that episode, in a couple weeks. But it's like there's just some, especially watching like some of these Sans Iron Man, they lose a little bit of their luster way after the fact. But
This is actually the first time in my rewatches in a long time that I included the Incredible Hulk in it.
That's understandable.
Yeah, because I usually just leave it out because it's a Universal movie, rights issues, never going to see Norton ever again.
Yeah.
So I just leave it out.
It's like the one piece that stays is William Hurt.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what you were saying, sorry.
That's pretty much
Okay.
it. I have more thoughts on that when we get to Incredible
Yeah.
Hulk, but
Okay.
it's shifted in my lineup quite a bit from this one rewatch.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously we're starting with number 1, 2008, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.
The turning point in his career, his big comeback.
Yeah.
Because if at this point, I feel like if you're into movies and stuff, you'd know, but son of a movie director around the industry of sorts for his whole upbringing. Became, kind of a teen, early 20s star. There's some 80, I think, like Back to School is where he's a supporting character.
I think he was loosely like Rat Hacky, kind of in some of those movies.
Yep. And then like one of his big roles is Charlie Chaplin in the early 90s in the Attenborough biopic. And then he got into a lot of legal trouble. Was it late 90s, early 2000s?
I believe when he was on Ally McBeal. I know that's what caused him to be booted from the show. That's what I knew him from.
Yeah,
he was the guy from Ally McBeal.
And it was drug issues.
Yeah.
Oh, and man. He has a studio album.
Oh.
Don't they all?
But he went to jail, even. And the big turnaround is Iron Man because they took a chance on him because it was, we think he's perfect. His upbringing with his dad compared to Tony's with his dad and, like, all this stuff, and it's like we think he's the right fit for the role, and this would be perfect to turn. And I think there was pushback.
Yeah, big pushback.
Big, and it's like that's a risk. And
you couldn't trust him.
And it changed everything for him, and it's such a great story too, all the way to this current year where he
won for Oppenheimer.
Yep.
It looks like I can't verify this. You'll have to verify it for me. That's his first win for a personal.
It is. Yep.
Performance anyways.
He was nominated for Chaplin and then also supporting actor for Tropic Thunder. I think that's the same year as Iron Man too. So big turnaround year, big blockbuster hit that relaunched his career. Oscar nomination and still talked about comedy for various reasons. That's a whole nother podcast for that. That's such a dense thing to get into, but 2008 was the big turnaround for him, and he is so good in this role, and especially this movie. Right away, I was like, that first scene, you're like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. He is this character.
Yeah, literally, like, second one, he's on screen talking to those soldiers. You're like, this guy. This guy is pure energy, charisma.
I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe after 2008 they started modeling the way they draw Tony Stark in the comic books. After that,
a lot of that happened with MCU into the comics, and a little bit backroom stuff with putting him in the comics first, and then kind of convincing them to be in the movies with Sam Jackson.
Did they? Yeah, I was gonna say the Nick Fury thing. Wasn't Nick Fury the big Unbreakable has a big thing about that, right?
Yeah.
They saw him in that. Like, did they create Nick Fury for Sam Jackson?
So.
You're the big comics. I know you are too.
From what I know from piecing
together
stories over the years, the tale goes. I'm not going to go through the whole Nick Fury in the comics backstory because that's a whole other crazy set of worms.
Yeah, I was going to say, it hasn't that character been around for a lot longer than Unbreakable?
Yeah. So Nick Fury was originally a white guy. In the early 2000s, they introduced his son, Nick Fury, who is an estranged son who happens to have the same name and is also black. So they send white Nick Fury to the moon, chain him there. The Watcher does this. Change him to the moon. He's still there in comics, I believe. Could be wrong. I think I'm not even going to go into the whole werewolf aspect of it all. But yeah, he's chained to the moon. Nick Fury is now looking like Sam Jackson. Marvel tries to say that it was a whole partnership with Sam Jackson, but he completely denies that. He's like, I open a comic one day and there's my face. So when they're making a movie, he goes, yeah, you're using my face. I of course I'll be in it. You're already using my likeness. Why not?
Props to him for even opening a comic book, I guess.
Oh, he's a massive nerd. Love him.
Oh, by the way, just to clarify, throughout this whole phased out experience, we are not going to watch any of the series, just the core MCU movies.
Because not only do we not have time and watching a whole series in like a week.
I don't have energy for those
I also just
series.
don't want to watch.
Wait till the multiverse opens and I try to convince you guys to go back to the X-Men and all that. That's now canon.
Oh, good.
No.
I
mean, I love those movies, but no.
It's all MCU now.
Oh, there's more. Great. Oh, God. But yeah, I think there's in Iron Man, especially in the first couple, because at this point we've watched the first couple. There's an edge and grittiness to it. Not a ton post Iron Man, but that's there. There's a level of ground to this that just you don't feel in the modern ones.
There is. I said it in what I said on Letterboxd after I watched it. There is a weight to that. I think it's probably the Mach 3 suit. That just like the noise it makes, the way Tony kind of fights it as he's moving around in it. There's just this presence to it that is non-existent when you get to like Endgame and Infinity War.
It's the little when he moves. It's the way he steps and.
It becomes like nanobots, and that's all.
Yeah, I mean it's just like skin when it's nanobots.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's not. I don't want to say it's not exciting, but it's just not.
Not tactile.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like anything. Like you can tell he's just in a suit with dots on it.
Yeah, and a big part of that is the first one being in a almost full Iron Man suit.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas after that one, it's too big at that point. I'm not getting that suit again. Just give me the headpiece and I'm good. But you can feel that he's in a suit, moving around in his movements. Like, yeah, you just see that it was there on set.
However, I will say that the design of like the heads-up display type stuff. It's funny how stuff like that, like movies and science fiction, influence where we are in technology and going forward. Because a lot of heads-up display look like the way they do now because of Iron Man. It's not really a fair comparison because it's the Iron Man VR game and they modeled it after that. But a lot of the VR games have that sort of thing to it.
Fly by window stuff, yeah.
Whenever I look back and rewatch this one compared to the others, it's like, it's not as much plot focused. And I've said this to you a million times. And this is on the internet. It's not. It's a character study.
He's only in the real Iron Man suit for like 15 minutes of the movie.
But it's like it's three distinct sections, and again, it's not focusing on building something bigger until the after credit scene. It's mostly. Act 1, we're setting up him and his change. It's all about him being a prisoner, changing his ways, and building that Mach 1. Yeah. Which, that escape is still good.
So good. And, like, you feel the tension when Jensen's like, I'll buy us some time. And you see the computer still loading, and then he doesn't have the helmet on. He's not ready for this. It is like, it's so good. And
then when he tells him that little speech as Jensen's dying where he's like, this was always the plan. He's like, but you're going to see your family. My family's dead. Yeah. And what does he tell him? Don't waste this. Yep. And, which I remember when Endgame came out, I wish they were going to bring Jensen into it somehow and make it super sentimental because I'm just a romantic at heart. And they didn't, and it's whatever. But I was like,
always been one of my favorite MCU characters.
It's
like, it doesn't happen without him and his influence on Tony Stark.
Yeah, and it's in 2008 too, like a couple years into the War on Terror, so it's like him being in. It's in Afghanistan, right? Yeah. It's like that's tied to current events in a way, and of course it's the 10 Rings, which will come up later, but not really in the same way.
But then it will. Also not in the same way.
Yeah, and he's got the menacing bald guy, who's yelling at him a lot. He's got Tom Morello there too. I had to bring up Tom Morello, just because it's like, oh, Tom Morello's in this, and I just looked at the picture like, oh, that's why he looked familiar, and I was watching. Okay, that's fun. It just there's a weight to that opening act that's really good. So when he does get back, it is kind of and those cheeseburgers look good. They really do.
And that's actually part of his whole like recovery thing. When he went to jail the last time, I think it was a long stint. He got out and he had a cheeseburger. He's like, I never want to be in a place again where I can't just get this. And it was a Burger King cheeseburger. That's why it made its way into the movie. I like that they put that little fact in there for him and kind of also tying him to the character even more.
What did he say? Like, there's two things. I want a press conference and I want an American cheeseburger. Cheeseburger first.
Yep.
I do have a question, maybe more specifically for Nick, but you notice everything, so maybe you too.
Notice everything is not important. I think
I've
it's
seen
better.
this movie like 30 times, and I'm just catching things the first time this watch through.
Regardless, that whole thing. Again, at this point, we've watched a couple of them already. So the whole thing with him not liking to be handed things, does that actually start in Iron Man 1, or is that just a trait that they just always had?
I honestly don't know. It's something I caught this time, like in the second one where he's not wanting to be handed things, and I also kind of had that same thought of like, is that even looked at or touched on in the first one? Do we see him not taking things?
Well, because I know a lot of people talk about like how he's always holding the hand that he snaps with the glove on. Again, we have seen all of this. We're going to talk about how it crosses and goes over and back and forth. So
and over the river and through the woods.
Literally. And then the big fish dragon jumps up at
We don't have to go there yet.
It's like my fourth favorite version of the Iron Man origin. It's great.
Fourth favorite version. Took a second for me to go,
do it so much.
Yes, they do. Because it's a good prototype. It's a good prototype.
It is.
And because then we get to the second act, which is building the Mach 2, which is really fun.
I miss when we got to see the suit actually build itself around him and the ins and outs and the little pieces and parts.
I do appreciate all the different ways that we get to see it, though.
Yes.
It's very Transformers. When did can you look up when the Transformers movie came out?
2007.
So it is very representative of that because that was very recent at that point.
I'll fact check it while you keep talking.
That is one of my favorite parts of that is my favorite part of that movie.
07.
So, and again, the noise, and this movie makes you feel like Jon Favreau is a very competent director, and then you get something like The Lion King. But.
Well, he made Zathura.
That wasn't that.
It's great.
It's so good. It's so underrated.
It really is. Like there's Zathura and Iron Man. There's
Elf.
another one around that time. Elf. There we go. That was the one I was thinking of.
Lion King. How many movies has he done with Disney at that point? He's probably like, just get it out there. Just go. I only cared about Jungle Book, and they're making me do this one. I don't know.
See, now you have me imagining like Disney just having a bucket and all of their directors just having this like Tinder app for the movies. Nope. Okay.
I'm not convinced that's not what it's like. I think it's more of like a lotto wheel. Just kinda...
I was gonna say the putting the suit together because we get a couple in this, we get a couple in the second one, and I think Avengers, and then I don't think we really see him. That much
becomes
after
nanobots.
That's
I think the last time we really get it is Civil War, and it's very small. It's when he's in his plane. You get to see him slightly transform when he's dropping out of his plane, but it's very short.
He does do the little watch thing, too.
Yeah, he does the watch thing. Then you get to see him without his helmet in that one, and his head's floating around real weird like.
Yeah. Of course, the best part of all those suit ups is when he's getting the suit taken off when Pepper walks in. Oh, let's be real. This is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
What a pair for a movie like that. Gwyneth Paltrow and him, like they are just.
They have very good chemistry.
They have the best chemistry in the MCU, in my opinion.
I do not like Gwyneth Paltrow, really. Even as an actress, not much she's been in that I've enjoyed. I adore her as Pepper Potts. She is
You didn't
so
like
good.
her in Shallow Hal?
Don't make me think of the very few things I hate Jack Black for. Don't make me think that negativity towards that man. But yeah, like it's one of the few times I look at her and I'm just like, she's fantastic in this. She is so good. And it's just how they bounce off each other. And like they don't make her dumb. They don't make her damsel in distress. She's out there doing things. She's held up. There are times, but there's a lot more in the MCU where it's a lot worse. Like she actually has a thing to do throughout the movie.
Her little comment to the I think it's the Leslie Bibb reporter, like, yeah, what is it like? And so you get it, you do his chore and take out the trash. I go, oh man,
that was great.
Nick was talking.
And like, yeah, I like that she has things to do. I also like that Happy kind of has things to do. Like he's trying to do things, but
He's just there to laugh at, and it's
there
okay.
to make jokes. Like, it felt like Favreau's like, I'm not gonna do much, but every now and then let me get a little joke in here, a little jab in here, a little bit more in Iron Man 2.
It is funny how much younger he looks.
So much.
Like, it's like, I don't want to say he's aged poorly, but it's like, it's very noticeable.
Yeah, I think it's been how many years? What is it? The last one he was in would be Spider-Man?
No Way Home.
He was in No Way Home.
Yeah. And I think he had like a big gray beard in that movie.
Did he really?
Maybe it's Endgame at the funeral. He's got this big gray beard and like longer hair, and it's like, yeah, no, they got quite a bit older. And you don't really realize it until you go back and watch. It's like, oh yeah,
it's been quite some time.
It's been some time.
And he's real skinny because before that, like you watch like Rudy, he's a chubby guy, which is like 15 years before Iron Man even. But then like this, he slimmed way down, and then now it gained a little bit back. He looks great, just.
Really does.
Yeah, we're not saying anything bad. It's just funny. It's just funny watching like
Chef.
Yeah, I love that movie.
I love Chef.
Didn't he also do Mouse Hunt?
No, that's Gore Verbinski.
Okay.
I love Mouse Hunt.
I love Mouse Hunt too. I haven't seen it.
It seemed like you were offended for a second. Nothing negative was said.
Without going into Mouse Hunt, Nathan, one of the best vocal deliveries of all time is Nathan Lane when he's going to try to kill the mouse, like when he can, and Liam just like, just do it. I can't! And he starts like fakes it like, nah! He looks so pathetic.
I really need to go back and watch Mouse Hunt again. I remember loving it as a child.
I just remember Christopher Walken like blowing up and going up, going as they drag him out of the house, and it's like, oh, what is this?
Movies in the 90s were unhinged. They were just insane.
They were just better in general. Yeah. They were just better.
They'll just straight up electrocute a guy and be like, hey, he's fine.
It's like every kids movie in the 90s just had to have hijinks and people getting hurt, adults getting hurt. The Home Alone movies, they insert it into
Dennis
101 Dalmatians, Dennis the Menace,
Home Alone.
Everything.
Every Roald Dahl adaptation from the 90s.
Just everything. But
a child should not know what the chokey is.
Yeah. And going back to Iron Man, these early movies too, there are a lot of on-screen deaths that just happen really quick, and I was noticing that. I was like, oh, they're just straight up murking people left and right. Like, you get to these newer movies, and they don't do it as much.
We needed to keep an MCU death count.
But like some of these
early ones.
Yeah,
that's
like,
the thing. Like the Marvel movies, like they'll just kill people. And the DC's like, nah, Batman doesn't kill. Marvel's like, no, they do.
I was gonna say the scene where he goes to Jensen's town. Love that scene. It's not that long.
No,
it's like 4 minutes.
Oh, that's Jensen's town.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I never realized that.
Yeah.
And was
it like Gomira? Is that
it?
it?
Yeah, Gomira.
Was I not paying attention?
They mention it on the news reel when he sees it.
Yeah, a town called Gomira. Because remember, he's doing the thing with his
his
glove, and then he hears it, and that's like the trigger word.
And then he sees the guy with like the scar, the bald guy with the scar.
And then he goes there and he just takes
Decimates.
out. Yep, I love when he punches through the wall and grabs the guy. He's all yours.
I also love that the first time you hear his repulsors, they add amplified special effects, so it's like you're dusting off something brand new. It kicks a little bit stronger, so they added like extra sound effects they never added again for the repulsor, so those first ones hit extra hard.
Yeah, Academy Award nominated sound and special effects for this.
I mean, that's fair.
That's the other thing. Like I was listening to the sound because you know something's nominated. It's like
yeah, every scene.
It's just like, yeah, this holds up. And again, you get to that third act where it's just him fighting bigger version of himself with Jeff Bridges going, you just saying like I've got you, Tony, or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's not. I still like it, but yeah it kind of slows down there at the end, but it's still really good. And Jeff Bridges as Obadiah Stane, I think other than the memed yelling scene.
It's the best scene.
Yeah, other than that, people kind of like crap all over him. I think he's actually pretty decent.
Is that
MCU
the Tony
villain.
Stark built this in a cave?
Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. I know, but like, he's such a goofy guy. He brings him pizza from New York that he doesn't let him have because he's acting he's like, you're acting,
little brat.
Yeah, and he's like, well, then this is mine. And then he's like playing the piano. And then, the yelling thing. He's just a goofy dude.
His favorite mode of transportation is a Segway.
Oh, yeah.
When he rolls up on the Segway with a cigar in his mouth and stomps into the building, it is the funniest thing in all of the MCU. That our main villain of the first movie is a Segway rider.
He's great. I don't know why people, not that they don't like him, and it's just he's kind of forgotten. It's like, why?
It's interesting because he's such a big actor, even at that time.
Mm-hmm. I also wonder, why haven't they implemented that paralyzation thing?
Yeah.
Ever again? It's such an effective tool.
It really is.
Because it was in his pocket when he blew up or fell down into the thing.
So maybe it was the only one.
It was a prototype.
Could probably rebuild that, but he's got nanotech to deal with. Whatever.
Don't forget about Rhodey either.
Next time, baby.
I feel like if Tony were working off soteriology, this whole universe just wouldn't work. That's all I have to say about Terrence Howard. I actually think he was pretty good. He's really good. I love their chemistry. I kind of would have liked to see what he would do with the rest of it.
I think there's just a different aura about him compared to Don Cheadle, because I like them both.
Don Cheadle plays more like that very, not uptight, but government guy. He plays that government guy, whereas Terrence Howard's a little bit
more of a buddy,
a friend. When they're drinking on the plane, that's what I like to see a little bit more.
Terrence Howard also has. It's weird. I feel like Don Cheadle is trying to be a more serious roadie in the second one. That's talking about the second one, but then Terrence Howard feels more serious because Don Cheadle is a little more goofy, silly as Terrence the series.
Do you think that's because don't we get more of Terrence Howard in a uniform?
Or he is in a uniform pretty much the entire movie. Or Don Cheadle's usually in a jumper.
Or in command, when he's going through that control center, trying to figure out what the bogey is when it's Iron Man and
it's me. That scene's great too.
Tony, are you driving or something? You could say that.
Just him flapping underneath the
jet. It's me.
It made me think of when the plane rolls and he's hanging onto the bottom. It made me think of Hot Shots.
You mean where Charlie Sheen flies between the two planes, goes
yep,
and just and they hides around the mountain. They go past. Oh man!
I will never think of another movie now that I've seen that. When anything having to do with fighter jets, it's going to be that in my head.
Sayonara, Saddam. Drops a bomb on Saddam Hussein. He just catches it next to his little pool.
Speaking of that scene, is this the first scene we get a cat in a tree moment that's caused by the hero? The hero puts a person in 100% life danger.
Well, technically they
save him?
They hit him.
He was there. He shouldn't have been there.
Yes, but they threw him off the plane and he smashed through that wing. And it's kind of like the what is it? Like the Jimmy Neutron effect of most of this is your fault that you have to fix. How much are you actually a hero as much as you're just cleaning up? Yes. But yeah, again, and that's in that second act. That's also the suit's been built, and the Gomira scene, which is followed by the jet scene. And then about after that's where it starts to slow down.
Yeah. Once we learn Obadiah's not on the up and up for sure.
Which you could probably guess.
The minute you see him, you're like, oh, that's a bad guy.
What is the name of his suit? Is it Ironmonger?
Ironmonger, yeah.
Ironmonger. I don't know what it is, but when he opens the head on that suit, it's just funny. It's like most of the effects are practical with CG mixed. Then it's 100% fake.
Yeah.
Or at least that shot. And he's got this little head, the little bald head sticking out of this big thing, just saying Tony.
It screams Paul Giamatti in the Rhino.
I was thinking that too.
It's the same thing.
I thought I know, or whatever he's yelling. Stupid.
Why didn't we ever get a Paul Giamatti Rhino? I need an Amazing Spider-Man 3.
I would so much money to see that.
I need an Amazing Spider-Man 3.
I love when they put these amazing actors in these movies and they do so bad. Because it's what else are they gonna do? You can't take this person and put him in this crazy camp movie and expect it to be good. Unless you're Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, or Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Anything you put, not just Iron Man, just anything you put him in, he's always good. He's always fun.
Justice for Hammer. Bring him back.
Justice for that's I know we keep. It's hard not to compare them. It's hard not to compare them because they're all one big movie.
And that's kind of how they were fed to us. like the aftermath of them being like, this all happened within 1 week. It's like, okay, so it's all supposed to be like the same exact time. So we should talk about them being the exact same time.
I don't actually know, like, this might make me sound stupid. I don't actually know, like, the timeline, like, how long it takes to get from Iron Man to Endgame.
In universe?
Yeah. Is it like...
Well, Endgame, there's the 5-year gap.
Yeah, there's a 5-year jump.
But then
okay, so
the
let's
rest
go,
of it...
Let's go Iron Man to...
Up to Avengers.
Infinity War.
First Avengers, from Iron Man up to First Avengers is 1 week.
What?
One marvelous week.
What?
Yes.
No. I see what you did there.
It might just be all of their first movies are within the same week, but I believe that's why Coulson's there constantly taking calls. Oh, I got a thing over in New Mexico. Oh, I got this going on over here. Oh, I got... Because it's all within that same week. So they name shield.
It can't be. There's a time jump from Iron Man 1 to Iron Man 2 of like 6 months.
Okay, so maybe it's just all their first movies are the same week.
Okay, I'll buy that more.
Yeah. But I thought...
But it can't be... But they just get to... I'm just wondering how this works 1 week.
It doesn't.
Because it's 6
You're
months.
talking the timeline of the MCU.
Yeah,
it doesn't actually work.
I was going to say, are you saying this based out of things that they say in the movie or things that you've read?
These are based off things that they have said over the years.
Okay, then I wouldn't believe it as far as I could throw it.
There's a lot of... I do think that 1 week thing is true. That's why Coulson's there constantly saying, I got to be here, I got to be there, I got to be here.
I would buy that for the first
probably a lot of
3 or 4 of
in
them.
there for that.
I would say Iron Man 2, Thor, Cap are 1 week.
Yeah.
I think the first two, not only because there's a year gap between those, because they're both 08 and the rest are 11 and 12. I would say those first two kind of a little more disjointed because it was like, is this going to work?
That would make more sense.
Even though they have the after credit scenes.
That would make more sense.
But
doesn't? Okay.
Because there's literally, it says like 6 months later. Or 6 months ago when he came back.
I think it is just their first ones. Because I think the end scene with Cap is also part of that. When he's in New York.
Yeah.
First wakes up.
Doesn't Stellan Skarsgård talk about the Bruce Banner incident?
He talks. He mentions. I know a guy.
That
with
fell
gamma
off the radar or something like that.
That was into gamma radiation. He tested it on himself.
Yeah. So I love that man.
But I think is it in Iron Man 2 where we'll get to that one. Yeah.
So I also want to mention just at the outset here. I'm probably going to mention it every episode. There was a time when stupid Jake. 2008 Jake didn't understand that there were after credit scenes. So when someone told me that all these movies connected, I was like, what are you talking about? I don't even think I saw Iron Man first. I think I saw Thor. I think Thor was the first Marvel movie I saw. I'm pretty sure of it, actually.
I'm sorry.
I remember, and I'll probably bring this up for the Cap 1 episode again, but just watching that movie with only seeing Iron Man, none of the others, and it's supposed to be setting up Avengers, and I'm sitting there with Lamps, Aaron, and Ben, and I'm calling shots before they happen without having seen it, not trying to be too annoying, and then Lamps yelled pretty loud at me. Because it was like, they're going to go around this corner, now one more, shield in the snow at the beginning. Jared, shut up! Have you've seen this? No! Because we were at one of their houses with the DVD.
Okay.
And I'm just calling the shots.
It wasn't in like the theater.
No, I
I
wouldn't do
assume
that.
Jared wasn't talking in the theater.
No, but I remember I'm doing that because it's like, I don't really care about these, but I'm not trying to be annoying, but it's like, let me get around the corner. There's the... And then we're going to flashback. Jared, shut up! Okay. Everyone's
to be fair,
serious,
you can ruin a movie like that.
Yeah.
And Cap 1 is just so much fun. It's not a very good movie.
But I love that movie.
Yeah. It's probably my favorite of the MCU.
I think my favorite of the first phase.
That's fair.
Yeah. I don't think it's the best, but it is my favorite.
Anyway, that's another conversation.
We haven't watched that one yet.
Yeah.
This first Iron Man though, just every time I've talked about it or we've ranked it or we've done these rewatches, it's like
you fight for it to be number one pretty much consistently. I don't know that it is number one anymore in my book. But
he likes Ant-Man and the Wasp a lot.
That is false.
I enjoy that movie. I don't know. I'm not an Ant-Man hater,
no.
except for Quantumania. But we will get there. I have a lot of thoughts on that movie.
No, for me, it's between this and Infinity War because I think Infinity War was such a bold move within the context of the MCU. So
I miss when they made both moves.
they don't. That's the only one they've ever done. Well, No Way Home.
I think making Iron Man a D-tier Marvel character, you're launching, honestly, all of these guys are kind of D-tier. Outside of the random 90s video games they would be in sporadically. Like, nobody
or the random television shows that they were in.
Say, the only reason me and my friends were there opening nights because it was a comic book movie. It wasn't because it was Iron Man. We had no care about Iron Man.
Were there any... I mean, I guess there were comic book movies.
This is the same year as The Dark Knight. It's the year after Spider-Man 3.
See, okay.
Couple X-Men.
But my buddy Kurt,
all three
his
X-Men
dad
movies come
was
out.
a comic collector from like the 70s. So I grew up around him. So we were watching Blade, Spawn. I watched the old like Nick Fury, Hasselhoff movies. Like I watched them all. I grew up on Howard the Duck, the first Marvel movie.
Howard the Duck. Oh my god! And then they made him canon.
Well, it's a different Howard.
Is it?
That's Seth Green, right?
Yeah.
At least I thought so.
Yeah, the new one is. Oh, Tim Robbins got looped into that Howard the Duck movie.
That's right.
Anyway, anything else we want to say about?
Iron Man's great.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not saying that it's not number one, and I'm not even saying that it's not in the conversation. I just don't think. For me.
So preference based.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's in this weird position of like, it's not the big high camp like the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy that had just finished at that point, and it's not the gritty realism of the two, at the time, the two Nolan Dark Knight movies. So it's kind of in between. It's got that edge to it, but it's still got some of the camp. Like, it fits right in the middle.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
It feels grounded, and I think the MCU hasn't felt grounded even before. Like, once you hit Infinity War, even, it doesn't feel grounded because it's so massive, and there's magic, and creatures, and aliens. It's like, yeah, it's like, not that can't be good, but like the groundedness of it is long gone.
Jared, this movie has a man fly a metal suit into a pile of desert and just walk away from it. That man would be dead immediately, especially with a half-ticking heart. No realism in this whole universe, starting from there. The fact that he crashed head first and just, yep, I'm good.
Also, a man wanted an American cheese. That same man wanted an American cheeseburger, and he chose a Burger King cheeseburger.
Of course, at that point, I don't think. Did you see what he was eating in that cave? Like that, like
the slop.
Yeah, it's like I don't care.
Nutrition Pace 3.
Oh.
You know who makes a good cheeseburger? Hopcat. I only
do?
say that because I just had it.
Huh.
I almost had that for lunch. I almost ordered them on DoorDash.
We ran into each other at a Hopcat.
Nice. Oh, yeah, we did. Wedding planning.
Separate weddings, though.
Oh, R.I.P. to that couple.
We could tell the story. It's real quick. I was in a wedding, and Nick, you were officiating a wedding. And so he's with his wedding party at the Hopcat downtown. And I went there in a wedding, and we were like waiting for a table, and it's small, cramped, and loud, and I am incredibly uncomfortable. And I'm standing by like a pole because we're waiting for a big table to clear because there's like 12.
Was this the worst?
Yeah, 3 of the worst days of my life story.
Yeah,
the 4-hour
okay,
story.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'm standing there, and I'm just kind of like elbows in because I've elbowed people before just walking, just existing. We're all big guys. It happens. So I'll do this like fold in thing so I don't bump people. And right in front of me is Nick goes, "Hey, Jared, how's it going?" I go, "Hey." And that's the story. Yeah. There he was. Hey. I think like
just
a couple days
for wedding plans.
A couple days later, we were talking about it. It's like, oh, yeah, I'd never been there. I've only been. That's the only time I've ever been to that one. So my experience there is tied to you.
One of your worst days of your life. Glad
yeah.
I was a part of it.
Yeah, when
Someday
we're walking
we'll
down
have
the
to film you telling that story as a podcast.
My friend and I, the groom, I rode with him, and we had to park way up the street, and there's like a big circle of cop cars, like a block away, and we get out of the
downtown
car.
Hopcat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we look over, and we hear what sound like shots, and so it's saying like, "You're not gonna take me alive," or something like, "Get off me," and I'm like, let's move. And he's like, "I kind of want to go watch." Like, no, your wife will kill me if you die.
Yeah, I can't just stray bullet just because you're like, I'm curious.
He's like, "I kind of want to go watch." No, let's go. Let's move. Let's go.
Oh, that's the And yeah, I would have been down there like, my phone out. Let me see this. We grew up in Grand Rapids. I'm like, yeah, it's gunshots. It happens. People over the window line, you're fine.
But yeah, Hopcat Burger is good. Mm-hmm. And they're not called crack fries anymore. What are they called? Cosmic fries. Which, it's one of those changes like, oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
I had the burger that has the hash brown and the fried egg on it. It's just
the last time I was there was that time. So it's been a while.
6 years. 6 years.
6 years.
Anyway, we're also big guys. We might divulge into food quite a bit.
Food is good.
There's also a lot of food in like this series. Like I had Burger King when I watched Iron Man. Just
you had to, you know,
tie it
kinda,
in, yeah. Had pizza during the Hulk because he brought him a pizza.
He had pizza and Iron Man as well.
I know.
And again, that whole scene of like,
pizza too.
He's like, well, if you get one, this is mine. I'm like, well, you can have one.
And I was he's like, take two.
Take two. You gonna tell me what's going on in the basement?
Yeah, when Jeff Bridges was like, we didn't have a script, man. That's the scene he's talking about. Because that was just them just like, we have this box. What do we do with it? And they just figured it out on the day.
I love how he grabbed pizza while he was in New York that day and flew back. It's like, that's great for the environment.
I feel like the Kardashians watch this and they're like, good idea.
Good idea.
Let me hop to the next town over in my jet.
Oh. They don't even like fly. It's just a runway to the next town.
Yep. From one terminal to the other because the other side has the restaurant a lot.
And it's exactly like the scene where he and Rhodey, when they are drinking together, it's like, no, you're not getting me drinking. Hard cut to they're gone. That's so good. It's funny. Like what happened to funny MCU? Like now it's all the quips and like this, it works because it's him.
Well, yeah, because
and
now
he's funny.
Everyone's funny.
Yeah, they've kind of ruined like the blockbuster comedies because it isn't just this stupid, you know, superhero sci-fi wacky thing. Everyone has to be funny. Well, every scene
too serious.
And even then they undercut the seriousness all the time.
Don't underestimate the fact that how this movie changed movies in general. So now we don't just see it in MCU movies; we see it everywhere.
And it's annoying. Can things just be
things?
Yes. Can things buy into what
they make
they're
money.
selling?
If they make money, they're going to make more of it.
But like, haven't the studios realized copying the MCU doesn't make you money because all of them fail outside of the Godzilla Kong?
The MonsterVerse?
I don't know how the MonsterVerse is the one that succeeded, but okay.
When's Tom Cruise's mummy going to show up in that? That's even a different universe, isn't it?
Please give me the dark universe, please. I beg of you. That picture of all of them together when not a single one of them was together, it's the most magical thing ever.
Do you know that they made a video game based on that and they didn't tell anyone? It's a side-scroller Metroidvania style game. And
so wait, the dark universe, because they made the mummy to set it up, and it was supposed to. It didn't retroactively take I, Frankenstein and Dracula Untold.
So it was going to, but then they recast everybody, and they bring in Angelina Jolie and Scarlett Johansson and Russell Crowe, and they're all going to be. And Johnny Depp was the Invisible Man, and then the Mummy came out.
See, do you have to cast someone as the Invisible Man because you're not going to see them most unless they have to
like the ascots and stuff? So they're like, you use your regular wardrobe. We'll just take footage of you walking through the streets and just add it into the movie. Just keyframe his face out and you're good.
Oh, I've never seen that Mummy movie.
It's not good. It is very not good.
If you want to see a Mummy movie, watch the Brendan Fraser one.
Honestly, watch the third one. Watch Scorpion King. It's better than that movie.
I have seen Scorpion King.
Watch it again before watching.
That's one of those. That's one of those movies where you're watching and I don't even recognize who The Rock is, and just it's like, oh, there's the funny guy that hangs around with him. You know, his version of Benny from The Mummy, and he punches him. That's funny, and the one lady's really pretty. That's me at like 10 years old watching that. Like, whoa.
I remember seeing that in theaters with my buddy and his parents, and I was adamant. I'm going to buy my own ticket because I'm 13 and I can buy a PG-13 movie.
I'm an adult.
I refuse to let them buy my ticket for Scorpion King.
I remember watching that in the theaters with my dad, and there's a part where the villain goes like flying off of a cliff. Memnon goes like he's
it,
on fire and goes flying off a cliff, and I just start laughing out loud, and everybody's like, "What?"
Oh, it's because he shoots the Rock, but instead of it killing him, the I cannot remember her name in the movie, pushes him so it like gets him in the shoulder, and he like pulls it slowly out of his back, strings it on his bow, and shoots it. Then he catches on fire and falls over the edge of that building. And as a kid, I'm like, whoa! This is the greatest movie ever. My friend and I were 10. We double feature that with Dodgeball.
Yo, solid back.
It was 2005. They had both just come out like the year or two before. So we watched Dodgeball, in which I'm like, what are those? Those are boobs. Oh! Why are the girls kissing? Oh, they're lesbians. I go, oh! What's that?
I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me.
It was a very informative day for you.
Yep, and then Scorpion King was like, there's more? Yup. We can talk about the Scorpion King, which is, I believe, his mummy character, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Whoa, and that one shot, the big Scorpion. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and then they made the sequel to the Scorpion King, Black
like
Adam.
Yeah. Like what?
Black Adam.
Pretty much. I mean, the backstory is pretty close, honestly.
I'm sorry, not to divulge into the Black Adam, but who the heck was watching the first 10 minutes of that movie going, that's not The Rock's character, man. That's not The Rock's character.
Oh.
Anyway, speaking of The Rock, have you all seen that clip where filming Jumanji 2, Kevin, he hurt his leg, and Kevin...
Are you talking The Next Level?
Is that the subtitle?
The second, new Jumanji. Because it's weird because it's like Jumanji, Zathura, and then Welcome to the Jungle, then The Next Level.
Okay, then yes, The Next Level. So apparently The Rock hurt his leg or something filming that, and they still made Kevin Hart run for scenes, but they pulled Rock on the Rock on this treadmill thing.
That's right.
And the video's just him. You!
I have not seen that video, but I'm definitely gonna look that video up.
That's the last video I watched on TikTok.
I actually love when they're in movies together, just for the behind the scenes stuff, because it's fun, it's wild.
Oh yeah, they don't make great movies, but they're both fun dudes.
Exactly.
Iron Man.
Is there anything else we need to mention about this?
It's kind of hard. We know it's 16 years old. Everyone's talked it to death. They've broken it down. It's probably the most rewatched of all these movies I've seen, just because it's on FX all the time. Same with Iron Man 2. Those first two are on FX all the time.
Not Disney. Before the buyout.
That's why.
So they probably still have TV distribution rights through Universal.
Yep. So that's why they're on all the time. Mm-hmm. It is one of those, especially this one, where you can kind of just pop in any time of the movie and just peace out when you want. Just watch a couple of highlights. That's kind of how a lot of these movies function, but this one functions a lot better in that way.
Is the Marvel the start of the YouTube movies where you just take clips and you're good watching that clip and it's done?
The movie clips channel?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know when that started.
It would be either this or The Dark Knight, because I know the that first heist, the bank scene, was massive on YouTube when they released that.
It makes sense.
So it could be that, but also tied to the MCU because they came out at the same time.
It might also be, Heath Ledger's tragic passing.
People going back, revisiting.
And it's he's only in really 20 minutes of the movie or whatever it is. So they'd bring up clips of him. Yeah. And that kind of started this whole watching clips from movies, because now we have something at our disposal to pull up any video we want. And before then, YouTube was so different in 2008. We were all there. I was younger than the two of you and still was aware of the things going on.
I was almost graduated college.
Yeah, you 2010, right?
Yeah.
December 2010.
Yes.
I remember. We bring this up frequently.
I was existing.
One of the running gags is how just ancient I am.
Yeah, I was just graduated high school, so I was either in my room watching Doctor Who or watching this.
07.
My man.
Yeah. So, that was all I did for 3 years after 2008 to 2010.
Eventually, we're going to have to get you to chastise him for not really liking Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad opinion. Doctor
that's
Who's...
How about...
Sorry, it's
how
not
about-
even a bad opinion.
No,
it's just
no,
the
shut
wrong
up.
opinion.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's the
Shut
wrong
up.
opinion.
No, you need to blame this guy for picking bad episodes.
To be fair, he told me the episode you gave him, I would never have given those for
I was-
time
yeah,
viewing.
I
Not
was-
to him at least.
I was
Sorry,
trying to do contemporary doctors as they viewed the Daleks. The two that I really messed up on were the two Tennant ones.
Yes.
Those were the worst ones. The other ones were fine. If I'd have picked something like Blink and just been basic about it, you'd have been fine.
I hate that everybody gives Blink. Stupid Whovians. I'm glad the ones that you chose weren't Blink, actually.
Well, I was trying not to pick Blink.
You didn't choose Blink. Blink's great, but there's no doctor in that episode, really. Why would you choose that?
Maybe I would have liked it.
I couldn't think of a good one to pick for Tennant. So,
Because, no, I'm not going to say that. Everyone
Jared,
loves
you should go
Tenet.
watch A Journey in Time and Space. It is a...
The Stephen Hawking thing?
No, it is a movie about how they basically got the first episodes of Doctor Who made, the studio, and like the people who were trying to get it going.
Like back in the 60s or
Back in the
Eccleston? 60s.
I think you
Okay.
would really like that, and it would ease you into Doctor Who.
All right.
And just watch Doctor Who, Jared. It's good.
I still don't think he'd like it.
I don't think so either.
I'd like to formally apologize to everyone watching and listening. If the mic probably peaked out the wazoo, Jake, I'm sorry I yelled at you.
Dude, you should just jump in now. Shooty is the new Doctor. It's
I
like
love
a new
Shooty.
generation.
4 seasons. I can't really say much.
You need to catch up first. He caught up.
I haven't even finished Capaldi yet, so.
That's where everybody jumps off. He just doesn't. I don't want to say
Leclerc-
he doesn't
Leclerc
do
left,
well,
I was
but
like, I'm done.
it's fair.
Yeah.
But then Jodie Whittaker is. Just,
I saw a couple episodes and really loved it. But
It's a hot take, but I really love her.
Yeah. She's my friend's favorite, so.
Anyway, Iron
Iron
Man.
Man.
I don't know what
Wait,
else
wait.
to say.
Did we ever get?
I don't. So the one thing I noticed in this movie that the first time I noticed,
I know
out of
how it
multiple
connects.
things,
I know how it connects.
is his vest when he's blown up. He's wearing a Stark
Yeah.
bulletproof vest, and I feel like if he were wearing a military issued one, he probably would have not gotten as injured. It's his fault in the first place that his heart was injured because he was using his own untested tech. We should not trust him.
Going back real quick, just to tell you how Doctor Who connects the MCU. Christopher Eccleston is the Dark Elf.
What's his name?
I don't.
Malachi,
Thank you.
In the biggest.
And he says 13 words or whatever I thought I read.
something like that.
in the biggest waste of a Christopher Eccleston I have ever seen in my life.
Christopher Eccleston in the voice because he doesn't recognize his time on Doctor Who.
All 10 episodes or whatever it is.
There's
Fairly good episodes.
I know, I've seen one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. There's only like one that I would consider a bad episode.
Yeah.
They must have just done him. I've not read anything about it. They must have just done him so dirty.
From what I hear, that's just kind of how he is. If he didn't like working on a project, he just it
Peace.
didn't happen. Yeah, just like G.I. Joe. Yeah, he's in there.
I like Nick. Nick can stay around.
The best thing is a good point. I like the phones in these early ones where it's like it like pops out like and just I go, oh, that was so cool back in 2008.
So cool.
Wait, you mean like a sidekick?
No, his phone.
one at the
he
top
pulled out,
that flips open?
yeah, it flips open like that, and he still got the old keyboard. It's like, oh, that was so cool in 2008. And remember, don't post this on your MySpace. And then I go, oh yeah, I remember that was a thing. And then people are like, a what? Yeah.
Justin Timberlake owns, I don't know.
No gangs.
Yeah, isn't it still like a thing for musicians or something?
It tries to be.
You guys know the song MySpace Girl, right?
I was in love with
Oh,
the MySpace girl.
I saw your picture on MySpace. Maybe someday we can turn it into our space, baby. I don't care how long it takes. I'll save you space in my top 8 for you. Woohoo!
I thought
Woohoo!
when they wrote that, they thought this will be timeless.
Well, I gotta look up who it is again, but I think it's a true story. He met the lead singer, saw a girl in a drive-thru and liked her and found her on MySpace, and then they ended up getting married
that's
later.
creepy.
Like the afters? It's the afters.
That's just kind of what you did back then, though.
Yep. 2008. It came out in 2008.
Oh, wild.
I heard them sing it live too because he told us the story. Whoever that guy is, and that was like 2010.
Afters. Isn't that a Christian band?
I think it is. Yeah. Yeah, it is, because it was Rock the Coast is where I saw them. So we're in the empty wave pool. Just like, yeah, I don't know who you guys are, but you're rocking. Sorry, I guess it's 2009 or 10. You're rocking.
So we talk about, like, Christian mosh pit, which is very different than normal mosh pit.
What mosh pit? We're just standing there.
Yeah, Christian mosh pit.
Yeah, we're just... Actually, I think like Hawk Nelson and Flyleaf were also there.
Oh, they're actually sick.
So, like, if there were other... Because it's like 5 or 6 acts or something, and I think Hawk Nelson was last, and then Flyleaf was, like, not penultimate act, but, like, third to last. But, yeah, I think TFK was there, too. That's a whole nother... We're getting off track. That was a long time ago.
What are we even talking about anymore?
We were talking about Iron Man. 2000, I do remember...
Who wrote the music for this? Was it Silvestri or was it...
It was, I feel it was like John Debney or something. Let's see. Music. Where are you? I have Letterboxd open. Why is it not giving me music?
Did Giacchino do a run of these movies?
Yeah. Oh, no. John Debney's the second one. Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
I think it's pronounced Ramin Djawadi. I hope I said that right. What else have you done? If this will load. I have a famously bad internet connection down here. Let's see.
Which is weird
Eternals,
fine
Uncharted,
connection.
Pacific Rim, Clash of the Titans, Open Season, Blade Trinity, Fright Night, 2011 or 2010, 2011. Yeah, so done plenty of stuff. Yeah. So music's good. I think the other thing I miss from Marvel movies is
good music.
Outside of Guardians, good needle drops. Yeah. Because these, I mean, I'm not a giant AC/DC fan. But so as long as we're talking about this in a bubble, the first 2 Iron Man movies made me realize one thing: AC/DC is really only good for needle drops.
Oh yeah.
I would never sit down and listen to an AC/DC album, but I'll be damned if I'm not pumped when he jumps out of that plane in the second one, and it's like, was it Back in Black or something?
Which one is it?
Or it's Highway to Hell. It's Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
They do use Back in Black in one of the movies, though.
They have to.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they do it in the first one, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, AC/DC's good 30 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
Well,
then it's like 3 chords.
10 years apart.
And the difference between AC/DC and Guns N' Roses, AC/DC is only good for needle drops. Guns N' Roses is only good for 3 needle drops.
No, 4.
What's the 4th?
Paradise City.
Paradise City.
Sweet Child of Mine.
Yes.
November Rain.
I wouldn't say needle drop for that.
I would.
Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah.
That's 4.
Okay, Mr. Brownstone. I'll throw in Mr. Brownstone.
Okay, 5.
I almost said, because I almost said Mr. Brown Nose. That's not right. I used to say that on like Freudian slip. They're like, what? I go, Mr. Brownstone. So yeah, 5 needle drops. Whereas AC/DC, there's more than that.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses,
I mean,
5.
Well, to be fair, all the AC/DC ones are the same song.
The only one that even sounds kind of different is Thunderstruck. And it's
I do like Thunderstruck quite a bit.
Yeah.
The intro, like I've watched videos where guitarists say, like, for how like simple it might look and how hard it is to play, it's even harder to just play that constantly. You're both guitar players. Have you ever tried to play?
I'm a bassist. Thank you very much.
You can play guitar. I can't play guitar.
No,
That's
but
fair.
I did try to learn some of the Tom Morello stuff, and not easy.
Well, you have to have the effect pedal, right?
Kind of. You need a
To throw
kill
in
switch or a pencil to tap your strings to make the helicopter sound, and it's weird. Yeah. Just don't try to learn Tom Morello stuff because you probably don't have this stuff handy in your guitar case.
Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Anybody else got anything else to say
I'm
about
good.
Iron Man?
Good movie.
Good movie. Probably the peak of where we're at.
It's definitely my favorite of the ones I've seen.
The peak of where we're at, the first one.
Well, I mean, we did that with DreamWorks, didn't we? Our
That was
number
the
one
second
pick was the second one.
Yep, but it wasn't the first one because ants is not
Ants. What? Anyway, that's going to be all for us. If you want to check us out, follow along with us as we go through this. Where can they find us, Jared?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X.
formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell. Make sure you like and comment on all those apps and check out our groovy website.
Which we promise we will update eventually.
I make no promises.
Oh, you're going to be the one responsible for that. Haven't we told you? It was part of your contract. You signed it, man.
You didn't tell me about the contract.
That's because we're getting most of his money.
There's money.
No!
I didn't read the contract.
Bad move. Anyway.
You going to lead us out?
I thank you for joining us as we get more and more phased out. Have a good day.
Bye.
What do you want me to say?
That was beautiful. You just got to say that every time. Hey, now you got to live our outro. How does that feel?
It's interesting. I haven't been on a podcast since 2008.
When the movie came out.
Yeah, I think that's when I did my podcast. So
How do you not know who
At least,
David Bowie
yeah,
is?
at least heard of him.
Where does time go?
just keep on slipping.
Into the future.
Just have him
Wake
knocked out
me
for the
up when
first
we get to
3
Infinity
episodes,
War.
Just have him knocked out.
So what do I do?
I don't know.
You
I
came up with
I didn't
this.
think this through. I'm an idea guy. You're the dude that makes it happen. Salutations, nerds.
Really is.
Like nothing. The war with Grandpa?